Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. In this tutorial, I'm just going to move my tea. I'm going to show you how to do part one of this granny square blanket. I've been saying for a while I was going to make it and then showing me our progress. So I'm going to do part one, and that's going to show you how to make the squares that we need to make this. And then I'm going to do part two will be the joining, and part three the edging and straps. So I've been using for my granny squares this Creative Cotton, and let's move this down a bit because I had it up high for that. Yeah, this Creative Cotton, it's a Rico design yarn, and it's 50% cotton and 50% acrylic, and it's got 125 meters each little skein. So I've used approximately three, I'd say two and a half, but just to be on the safe side, you'd need a couple of them, like two or three. And to edge it, I used this, which I lost the label of somewhere, but it's So Crafty Knit and Purl cotton, and it's just one that I got from Aldi. It's very inexpensive cotton yarn. It's got a bit of a crinkly vibe, and that's what I used for the edging. And the reason I used it was because I liked the fact that they had this colour in the squares, and I thought it just lifted the whole square, because without it, it was a little bit on the dark side. But you could have used any of the colours from it. So anyway, you can use whichever yarn you see fit. Now, I believe this is classed as a 4-weight. It's not particularly thick, so I don't believe it is. But I think on the label, it did class it as a 4-weight. But I'd say it's more of a 3. I'm using a 4.5mm crochet hook, and this one is a Susan Bates, and I've been reviewing Susan Bates. First of all, I had this one only, but I've been sent a couple of sets by two of my lovely subscribers, so I'm going to be using them all the time and see how I get on with them. I'm going to use this one because in the sets I didn't have a 4.5, and I used that for the previous one that I made here, so I want to keep everything the same, but it's still a Susan Bates, so that's fine. And I'm sorry my voice is going for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm going to pause this video for a second while I get my bits together and get ready. So you'll need a 4.5, you'll need your yarn, a pair of scissors and a darning needle, which is in my bag. You don't really need to see a darning needle, so that's fine. Just bear with me a second and I'll be back with you any moment. That's better. There was an essential part missing of my tutorials, and I'll show you what that is. You're not going to believe it. It is a laundry bin, because when I pop my yarn on the floor, I don't really want it just rolling around the floor. So I put that down there, and it keeps my yarn safe and stops it from getting grubby. So yeah, the glamorous life of a YouTuber. So I'm just going to have a quick drink because my voice keeps going. I've got my favourite biscuit tea, which is absolutely yummy. So I'm just going to break this because it's really hard to... Oh, there we are. It's just really hard to fiddle that because what it is, it's because it's got these like arrow parts, you know, this gets stuck. Never mind. So I'm going to find my end. Should be end. Where are you? Oh, now I've got two ends. That's annoying. That will get tangled, so I'm going to put this one back in the centre. Then you hate it when that happens, when you get two ends, because you know later on in the ball they're going to come back and twist and annoy you. So right, we'll go deal with this one. Pull out some yarn. Now this is easy, this granny square. It's designed for the beginner. I'm just going to put my glasses on. And so you'll definitely be able to follow this. I have done the perfect granny square tutorial before, There's not really very much difference, so I'm going to make a slip knot, which you can do however you want. Don't really need to leave a massively long tail. Let's go down a bit, that's better. And I will zoom just a bit so that you can see it. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 4. So we're going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and that's 4 chains, and we're going to slip stitch into the first one. So there's our knot, and this is our first one. We're just going to pop our hook in, yarn over, pull through both loops, and we've made a little diddy ring. You can just about see that ring. So when you crochet with this, it's very much like just crocheting with a piece of ribbon, which is kind of cool actually. So now I'm going to work into this ring, and I'm going to work over the tail at the same time. And to get up to the right height, I'm going to just do 2 chain. 2 chain I find is sufficient height for a treble crochet in the UK, which is a double crochet in the US, and that's what our granny squares are really comprised of. So we're going to yarn over, go into the very centre of our ring, if I can get it in there, yarn over and pull up a loop. So you have 3 on your hook. At this point I wish the hook was a different colour so it was easier for you to see them, but there they are. So we yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. That is a treble crochet in the UK or a double crochet in the US. So we're going to do 1 more of those into that ring, exactly the same, and then we're going to do 1 chain. So now this represents 3 treble crochets. Remember, that's a double crochet US. So there are these 2 chain count as our first one. So now we're going to do a set of another 3. So we're just going to do 3 more. If I'm too fast for you, then just by all means pause the video and catch up with me. So I've now done my 3. I'm going to do 1 more chain and another 3. That's my 3rd one. Now 1 more chain, and I'm just going to stop to have a little look at it. So what this is doing, as you can see, it's making a little corner. By doing the 3, 1 chain and then a 3, you're getting this, looks like a corner. So I'm going to carry on and do another set of 3. And if you need to, just pull it aside so you can still see your ring, you know, your place in the ring. Now we have 4, and that's all we need for our centre of our granny. But if I did a chain and I slip stitched into this, it would make my work at this point. I will show you. So if I slip stitch into that top chain, which is what some people tell you to do, now my next stitch are these 3 ones. They've got this, the 2 chain that we started with, and so we're in the wrong place. And a lot of people at this point will just turn their work, but I'm not really keen on the reverse side of a treble crochet. So I'm not going to show you how to do that. I'm going to undo that chain, and we're back where we started. And to get where we need to be, all I'm going to do is a half treble. That's a UK term. It's a half double in the US, and to do that we yarn over and we go into the top of our 2 chain. The first 2 chain we did, there's the first one, there's the second, and we're going to go into the top and we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So we've got 3 on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 of those. So now we are in the center of this ring, and that's where we need to be. I'm just going to have a quick drink. Don't know why my voice is going. So we're going to do 2 chain again, because that's our going to count as our first treble crochet. Now into this hole we're going to do 2 more, so that will be our 3. And for this only, this is our corners now. We're going to do 4 corners to make the next round, and that's half of a corner. And for this one only, we're just doing 3. But this is going to be a full corner, this next hole here. So we yarn over and we'll make our 3 the same as we have been, just simply do the 3. Oops, helps to grab the yarn. Not used to these hooks really yet. And then you do 1 chain, and because this is the full corner, you can pull that over to see more of your area, and you just 3 more. And that will make our corner. Just as I showed you, it was making our square initially. Now it's turned a corner for us. So each of our chains in between our 3 are going to be a corner for this round, but only this round. So we're going to do 3 in the next one. And then 1 chain and another 3, because we're making another full corner. I'll try and go a little slower and then I won't miss the yarn. It's because I've got the camera in between. So now if I show you, we've got a corner there and a corner there, and our initial round is getting a little bit more spaced out. So the next one we're going to do 3, 1 chain and 3, just the same. There's our third one. 1 chain and 3 more. I need to pull some more yarn, just bear with me a second. I hate it when it gets tight. Oh, I'll pull the wrong end. Okay, so now if we look at it, we've got our 3 full corners, and this one here is our first one, which was half. So we're going to complete that by doing 3 more in there. Get that tail out of the way because it's looking confusing. So there's our first one, second, so this is our third. Now what we're going to do is exactly the same as we did before. We're going to do a half treble or a half double US into that top of our 2 chain. So we're going to yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. So we are bang in the middle of our corner. If I pull that out and I just roll, just pull it out a little bit so that you can see it's a perfect square forming. So these are our corners now. We've just made those, and our last one, it looks a little disjointed at the moment, but it won't on the next round when you're closing it up. So now we're going to make not only our corners but our first of our sides. So we do that by making 2 chain just as before, and our 3 in the corner. So we're doing 2 more because those 2 chain count as our first stitch. So that's half our corner, and when we come back round we'll complete that. So now we have a side. There's our corner, and we've got this gap in the middle. So we're just going to do 3 in our sides. So if you're on the side, it's 3 stitches only. We only do the 6 of them separated by a chain in the corner. So we now reach the corner again, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to do 3 with 1 chain and then another 3. There's our chain. And that's our last one of our second lot of 3 in that corner. So now we're back at the side, and again you can see that there's our corner, this one's our side. We're just going to do 3 in that one. They look confusing at first, but you soon get used to seeing the square, and I'll show you that's how it's looking now. There's our half of a corner, our side, full corner, and our half. So we're going to do our full corner in this one, and it's becoming more of a perfect square. our chain, and 3 more. Now we're at the side again, so just 3 in that one there, that hole, just like all the other sides so far. And this one's a full corner, so we're going to do our corner. Very windy out, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but we've been promised this storm and it arrived very late last night in the early hours. Very windy out there. Pull some more yarn. So I hope it's not roaring too much. So there's another full corner. We do our one single lot of 3 in the side, and we are back at our half a corner. Now that becomes at the first a little bit confusing, but you can, if you hold your square, you can see there's just half a corner in there. So we'll do our last 3. And again, we're just going to do our half treble into that chain. Oh, I didn't go quite into the chain. I didn't again. Just need to go, make sure you insert into that corner. And then pull up a loop, pull through all 3. So I'm just going to make that bigger and show you our progress. So we've got our corners and we've got 1 in our sides. Now on this round, we're going to have our corner and our corner here, but we're going to have 2 sides, two lots of 3. 1 there and 1 there. And as our square grows, next round would have 3 in the sides. So on our squares, I'm going to show you my finished one. We do a total of, here's our centre, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the centre plus 4 rows. So we are on our second, there's our centre. So we've got a few more rounds, should I say, to do. So again, pull out some yarn, because I didn't really pull very much. I keep doing that. Unlike some, I keep my bloopers in. So, because if we can't laugh at ourselves, then we're pretty sad. Okay, so that pulled out my join and my last one. I really need to be more careful then. So there we go, just put our corner back, and we're back where we were. So in this particular round, it is exactly the same. Just gonna have a quick drink. We're going to do our 2 chain and our half a corner. It's very rounded, this hook, and that's why I slip off it. I don't always know exactly what part of the hook I have, because there's not really very much to give you a clue. So that's my corner, the half of it. And now I'm going to do my 2 lots of 3 in the side. So there's 1. 2, 3. And then another 3 in this one. And then we've got our corner. So we're going to do our usual 3 1 chain and 3 in the corner. And we're just going to repeat this until we get back to our start. Oops, I caught in that extra loop. So that's our sides now. There's half of our corner, 2 in the side, full corner, 2 more in the side, full corner. And you're just going to repeat that all the way around. So I'm going to pause the video and I will catch up with you once we get here back to our start. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, and I'm just going to complete this corner. This was my half a corner. So I'm going to do my last 3 in there. You can make your squares however large you want, or however small, should I say, as well. So I'm going to do my half treble into this top. Oh, I keep missing it when I've got the camera in between. So I'm going to go into there. Got my 3, pull through all 3. So as I say, you can make your squares as large or as small as you want. Just depends how big you want your bag, really. But I'm going to carry on and do it exactly the same as that particular round. So I'm going to do another round, exactly the same way as before, with my half corner to start. And then if you look, each side has grown by 1. So you've got 1, 2, 3 sides where you put just the 3 in, and then you'll have your corners. And I'm just going to go along here up to the first corner with you. If I go too fast, don't worry, just pause the video. It's a very strange angle for me to work at, but that's why I miss it now and then, because it's a little bit further away from me than it would be. So this is my last of my side on this particular row. Now I'm at the corner, so at the same as usual, 3, 1 chain and 3. And now we're turning. So let's just complete this round exactly the same way as you did the previous, only this time with your 3 along the sides and your corners, and I'll catch up with you when we get back to this half a corner. Okay, so I'm back to the start. I'm going to do the second half of my corner. Put it over a little. Now, as I said to you before in my previous part, we are going to do 1, which is the center, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that means we have reached our end of our square part. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now with our last corner, we are not going to do it the same way. We're just going to do 1 chain, just as we have in between all of these, because we want to keep it the same. And I'm going to slip stitch into those, the top of our 2 chain. So I'm going to then end off with this colour. Just snip that off, and I usually do that by making a chain, cinching it down and pulling it through. So that means now that this corner is exactly the same as all of the others, with just 1 chain in between. So that's how we make the square. So now we just need to edge it. Let me just get this this piece of yarn out of my laundry basket. Oh, now you know my secrets of how to stop my yarn rolling around the floor. So I'm going to get my edging colour and find the end. Here we go. Now this isn't the easiest to crochet with because it's got this kind of crinkle. It's not actually a chain. Some of the yarns that you can buy have a chain, but this is just a crinkle with one particular yarn thread pulled to make it go like that. So you can join it any corner. I'm going to not choose this one because I don't want to go over or sew in 2 ends at the same point. So I'm just going to insert my hook and pull through a loop, and now I'm going to chain using both the working yarn and the tail. Don't make it too big, and just drop that tail, and then I'm going to do 3 single crochet in the US, which is a double crochet for us in the UK, and that's where it gets confusing with the names. So I'm just going to do 3 in each corner. Don't worry, the first one has 3 loops on the hook is fine. I'm just going to pull that over so that you've got the space. Now I'm going to work over the tail a little bit. Well, I'll probably work over it all the way. So that's our first one, and to do this stitch, I'll show you more clearly on a normal one. You insert into that corner hole, yarn over and pull up a loop so you have 2 on the hook, yarn over, pull through both of them. And I'm going to do one more because the first one we already did, and that's our corner completed. So we'll have 3 stitches in our corner. Now we're going to go in each stitch along the side, and I'm going to work over this tail. So I'm just going to hold that at the back. And so we're going to go in each stitch, just insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both of them. And in the US, as I say, that's a single, but for us in the UK, that is our double crochet. And we're just going to do that in every stitch until we get to the next corner. You can use whichever colour you like, or you don't even have to edge them. I just thought it lifted the squares because that colour is kind of in the squares, and it just added a little something. Plus I thought as well that it would help it not be so stretchy, because my main yarn was 50% acrylic. But having said that, there is no giving it whatsoever, because it is actually like a ribbon. The only springiness comes from the fact that it's a granny square. So I am toying with the idea of putting a liner in my bag once I haven't done it yet, but I might very well do, and then it will stop things from poking through the holes as well. So now I'm back at the corner. Here we are. This is the one where I ended off, but it's got the chain in the center. So again, we're just going to do 3 in the corner, and then work over this end tail, and I'm just going to go in each stitch along. And if you want to pull that across just to see the first one, don't get the tail in like me, it's getting annoying, the tail. And then in the second one, and just in each one along until you get to the corner. And once you do get to the corner, you just do your 3 to turn the corner. So I'm going to pause the video, just do 1 in each stitch all the way along, 3 in each corner, and I'll catch up with you when we get back to the start. I've made it all the way back, got my last one, and now all I need to do is to slip stitch into my first stitch, which is easier said than done. So I'm going to hook it, because it might be a little tight in that one. There we are. So slip stitch into that one to bring the corner, snip off my yarn. I think I need a new pair of scissors, and I'm going to end that one off by making a chain, cinching it down and pulling it through. And there we are, that's our squares. And we're going to make each one exactly the same, and all that need to do now is snip off these end tails and sew this one in. So we should have 13 of these granny squares. 13 is what the number we need. So that's the end of this part 1 of this tutorial, and I'm going to leave you to make your 13 squares, and I will show you what to do in part 2 once I've got my squares made too. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be informed when part 2's up. I do also have a lot of other tutorials to check out, giveaways, and all sorts of stuff. So this being season of the granny, this is a perfect little granny square project. I've seen quite a few bags that are very similar to this one. There are a lot out there, but I like the way that I do my corners, so hopefully mine is a little bit different, and you're enjoying what you're doing. So thanks for watching, and until part 2 or next time I see you, bye bye for now.